Hi, I'm Pastor David. This is session 4 of How to Study the Bible. And today, after we've talked about choosing a Bible and scheduling an appointment, making sure you set up that time, today I'm going to talk about using a special tool that's going to help you get the most out of your study time. And that tool is called a journal. Now, why should you use a journal? A lot of people when I say, hey, you should journal, you should keep track of these things, they ask me, why would I journal? What's the point? And so I have 3 great reasons for you to, so that you can understand why it's so important that you journal when you're studying your Bible. I use 2 different tools for my journaling. One is an actual paper journal called the Lectio Divina Journal, and it includes some readings and things that you go through on a daily basis, but it also gives you a nice place to write some things down, keep track of paper, keep track of what God's doing, prayers, and what God's saying to me at any given point in time. And then the other thing I use actually is my iPad. I have an iPad Pro that I've had for a number of years. I use the Apple Pencil, and I keep track of things. I depending on what I'm journaling and what I'm studying, I use one of those 2 tools to do my journaling. And so why should you journal? Well, because one, writing things down helps you process what you're thinking. It helps you process what you're learning. It helps you really think through and go through what God is saying to you, what God is doing with you at any point in time. And so having that tool to help you process when you don't necessarily want to go and talk through it with somebody is a great asset. The next reason that it's important that you journal is because writing things down helps you remember them. A lot of studies have been done showing that writing things down actually helps us remember things longer and actually get us to a place where when we remember those things, we can apply them to our lives. We can start to make changes. And so not only is it going to help you process, but it's going to help you to remember what God has been saying to you through the Bible, what you've been learning through the Bible. And so that's going to give you that extra tool to make sure that you're taking those steps necessary in your life from your Bible study. And the third reason that you should journal is because writing things down actually is going to provide you a record that you can refer back to in your life. There are times where you're going through a difficult time in your life and you're struggling and God is speaking to you and He's spoken to you before, and you get to this point in time where you're going through a difficulty and it just seems like your prayers aren't getting past the ceiling of your prayer closet. It seems like God is not there. God is not hearing you. And when those times hit, it's really nice to have a record of the times that God has spoken in the past so that you can refer back to those things, knowing that God is there. God is listening. God knows you and knows where you're at. And so when you journal, it gives you that place so that you can refer back to those times when God has spoken so that you can move forward through the difficult times in your life. And so that's why you should be journaling. So whether it's a paper journal, whether it's an iPad or a tablet of another kind, whether you're typing things down inside of your laptop, whatever the case may be, it's important that you go ahead and start keeping a track of those things as you go. As always with these videos, I have a little quick Bible study for you, just based on the values of the church that I'm starting, Declaration Church. And this one comes out of Jeremiah chapter 1, verse 5. And I know the last 3 videos we've been in Genesis, but we're moving on this time to Jeremiah chapter 1, verse 5. And it reads this way. I'm using the English Standard Version, and it says this: "Before I formed you in the womb, I knew you. And before you were born, I consecrated you. I appointed you a prophet to the nations." Now, this is God speaking to Jeremiah. And there are 3 things that I really want to point out to us as we look at this verse. The first one is that Jeremiah was known by God. God says to Jeremiah, before I even formed you in your mother's womb, I knew you. God says, I know you. And He speaks that same message to you. Jeremiah is not special. He's not different from the rest of us. He's one of God's creation, and God knows him, and He knows him intimately, and He knows you intimately. He knows your past. He knows your future. He knows your present. He knows what's going on inside of you. He knows the things that nobody else knows. God knows you. And because He knows you, He's already set you apart. You're unique. You're different from everyone else out there. No one else is you. And that brings us to point 3, and that's that you were created for a purpose. You're not just here to aimlessly eat up time and space. You're not just here to exist. God has created you, knowing who you are, having set you apart and created you uniquely the way that you are. He has consecrated you and set you apart for a purpose. Jeremiah was to be a prophet. What has God set you apart to do? What is your purpose? You have one. Knowing God and being in relationship with Him is the first step to discovering exactly what that purpose is. So I hope that this video has been helpful. I hope you'll go out and get that journal so that you can start writing those things down as you study your Bible and you walk through this process with me. If you've enjoyed this video and this video series, please give this video a like and subscribe to the channel. That way, when the new videos come up, you can get those notifications, you can check them out, and you can continue to walk through this process along with me. As always, I'm Pastor David, and I'm out.